done things, you know, I can feel my feet starting to burn now. So I think it's all about, I think with religion it's down to the individual how you act, and at the end of the day how you'll be judged. And but I didn't suddenly just sort of switch on a Sunday. It was something I tried to carry through.
Thank you.
This side is very quiet. Oh yes.
Hello, my name is Andrew Smith, and once again thank you for your very interesting talk. Just really developing perhaps that last question. As a practicing Christian myself, I'm aware that a lot of Christians would talk about their relationship to God in terms of father and a loving, close relationship, which may have been language you were used to using. And I just wonder if you could talk perhaps a bit about how you would describe your relationship with God when you were a Christian, and how would you describe your relationship with Allah now that you're a Muslim? Thank you.
My relationship, I would say, is probably very, very much the same. There is that huge, unquestioning respect, and as a Christian, my way of communicating quite often outside of prayer would be to talk to him. And in fact, I remember when I had been captured by the Taliban, sitting in this room in Jalalabad, not knowing if I was going to live or die. And I sat there and I started laughing because I was in clothes that I borrowed from somebody else. My bag and my passport and everything that would identify me was in a hotel in another country. I'd even lost my socks and shoes, and I was sitting there thinking, I am so poor. I have absolutely nothing that belongs to me. And then I thought, actually, there is something that I've got, and I started to, well, I said the Lord's Prayer, and I was really, towards the end, I forgot one line in the Lord's Prayer, and it was deliver us from evil, and I'm thinking, what is this line? And just in the frustration and the stress and the panic, a prayer that I said on Sundays, I just couldn't remember it. And I remember just looking up to the sky and saying, oh look, you know what I mean, I really need your help. And I remember saying, I don't expect a miracle from you. I don't expect you to transport me from this cell to my hotel in Islamabad. But what I do want from you is just to give me the strength to get through this experience. And I don't know, I just felt a real tingling sensation, and I just felt, you know, I've got the big fella on my side now, bring it on. And because I really, you know, I've always had this belief in God, and I have these informal chats. I think probably we all do, as well as the formal prayers. You know, I also have these, and I've never really stopped talking to him. So my relationship with God, I would say, is probably, there is one difference, and that is, I wasn't brought up a Catholic, but the way I was brought up to pray is, you know, always ask for others, always wish things for other people, and pray for food in the third world, to pray for the rains to stop in areas of floods, and to pray for the next door neighbour that their hip replacement replacement will work, and I never felt comfortable about praying for myself. And when I became a Muslim, I remember being with a group of sisters, and I said that I was in a difficult spot. I can't remember what it was over now. And the sister said to me, she said, "You really should pray to Allah." And I said, "I can't pray and ask Allah for this, when there's so much going on in the world." She said, "Well, I don't know why not." She said, "I asked for a food processor the other week." She said, "And mashallah," she said, "a friend gave me one." She said, "Just yesterday." And she and I said, you can't ask God for a food processor. It's just when there's so much misery going on in the world. And she said, Allah loves to reward you, loves you to ask Him. And so that is something that I do differently now. I ask Him for much more for me than I did as a Christian. But the respect and the love and the faith is there, and is still very much there.
Thank you. Last question.
Just want to make a few comments. You made a really thought-provoking speech, but only I just want to make, because the fundamental purpose of this forum is that how we can bring the Christian community and Muslims community closer. When we see our history and the early period of Islam, even I will go to like early age of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, actually, when he made a trip with his uncle to the Syria, and he met with the Christian monk Bahira. And when in the early time of the Islams, when actually the Muslims made the first migration to the Abyssinia, currently known as Turkey, and there was a ruler was a Christian. And when he asked the Muslims that what you know about Christianity and what are your ideas about Christianity, and when the Muslims actually told the kings about their views about Christianity, and he was pleased with that, and he allowed the Muslims group, and there was and we referred, and when the Prophet actually migrated to the Medina, and the Prophet actually made the agreement and misaq with the different communities to make like a harmony. So I just want to ask you this one. We got a very clear guidance in our religions that we should live with peace and harmony with other community, other faith and other religions. So what you think, and we now at this age we require to do to bring the community, Christian community, Muslim community and other faith together, and what work you are doing currently after converting to Islam? Thank you.
I would say what you're doing today is a perfect example of what should be done in the wider community, because until we actually sit down and talk to each other and begin to understand that there's actually not a great deal of difference between what we believe and the way we behave, and the values, the family values that we hold are very similar. The good behaviour that's expected and is asked in each faith is very similar. It's the same God. We're all talking to the same God, and He's listening. And I think that this is something that we need to get through to the wider community, that there isn't a great deal that is actually separating us. And that also goes for people of the Jewish faith as well. And they're talking to the same God as well, praying in a slightly different way as well. So